What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be something I promised a little while ago. I also mentioned it in the comments of some previous videos, and that's going to be my 3 favorite M4 classes. These are going to be the go-tos for pretty much everything. I have 3 different classes for 3 different situations or playstyles, whatever you guys prefer. I'm just going to go through them one by one. I'm going to give you your pros and cons, and then we're going to get into some gameplay so I can show you what I'm talking about when it comes to things like recoil, if it's good at distance, if the movement is good, and things like that. Alright, so starting off on number 1, this is going to be my favorite class that I use for the M4. This is more like a post-up M4 class. The mobility is pretty low, as you can see down in the red section. Everything else is up though. You know, accuracy is almost at 100%. The damage doesn't change, the range is higher, and the control is higher. Like I said, this is more of just a post-up, like Arclov Peak or Azure Cave kind of M4 class. If you want to get to a power spot and shoot laser beams, this is pretty much your best bet. If you want to move around the map and, you know, run and gun, this probably isn't for you. The pull-up time's a little bit slow. The actual sprint speed is pretty slow as well. So if you guys are trying to run around the map, this is definitely not the class that you're going to want to be using. But like I said, it's my favorite because I'm a slow player. This is just the class that I prefer for my playstyle. So we're going to go ahead and get into the attachments. We have the compensator and M16 barrel. We have the reflex. Now the reflex obviously doesn't matter. You can use whatever you want. People use the GI Mini. This one, personal preference. I have Ranger foregrip and the rubberized grip tape, and this is, like I said, this is my go-to. So if you guys want to go ahead and copy that, go for it. Be my guest. Moving on to number 2, this is more of like a middle ground class, I would say. This is the mix between, you know, decent accuracy and decent mobility, not excelling in one or the other. Once you get to like a decently ranged gunfight, it starts to kick a little bit. It's not easy to control. So things like Cave and Peak, maps like that aren't going to be like too good for like distance gunfights, but this is still usable for sure. I've done it. So I have compensator. The differences in this class, I have the Corvus Custom Marksman barrel, I have Commando foregrip, and I have a rubberized grip tape as well. I read somewhere that Commando foregrip and compensator was like the 2 best recoil management attachments that you could have, pretty much. So the accuracy is about the same on this class. The only differences here are the range is a little bit reduced because of the Corvus Custom barrel as opposed to the M16 barrel, and the mobility is a little bit higher on this class, like I said previously. So this is more of your run and gun. The range isn't quite there compared to the first class, but this is basically the do-it-all. You know, you can use it on any map and be good, essentially. It doesn't cater to one or a different play style, just whatever you want to use. If you're unsure how you play, or if you're unsure like what play style you would like to do in respawn, then I would suggest this class for sure. And then the final class, this is your run and gun, do it all Don Dada. This At distance, the gun isn't great. I'll go ahead and say it. This is definitely for things like St. Petrograd, Hackney Yard, and Gunrunner. This is your class for sure. So compared to the accuracy down below, there's no cons for this class. Everything is in the green, but it's lower than everything else. So the accuracy is heavily reduced, as you guys can see, compared to the other 2 classes. The range is about the same as the second class that I showed you, and the mobility is pretty high, so you can run and gun, like I said. And the control is a little bit there. So we're going to go ahead and go compensator and operator foregrip. We have the Corvus Custom again for the movement speed, and it's kind of basically the same thing as the M16 barrel, just with a little bit more mobility and less range. And then we have stippled grip tape and no stock as my attachment over here. You guys can't really see it, but I have no stock as an attachment over here for the movement speed and aim down sight speed. And if I'm just going to go through the attachments really quick just to show you guys what they all do. So the custom barrel has the exact same things as the M16 barrel, but it's just a little bit less basically. So you got the compensator as well. There you go. It's recoil control, aim down sight speed, and aiming stability is reduced. You could switch it out for like a muzzle brake, but it's basically the same thing. I always prefer compensator. And then I have operator foregrip for recoil control. You lose aim down sight speed, but you gain it in all the other attachments, so it kind of cancels it out. And then I have stippled grip tape for the aim down sight speed, like I said, and then the sprint to fire speed, meaning that if you're running and gunning and you'll come around corners, then you can pull up a little bit faster. So those are the 3 classes. Go through them one more time. Number 1, I would use for like a post-up AR player. Things like Peak and Cave would be really, really good. Like hold down a power spot, sit on top of a trophy system kind of gameplay. Number 2, a little bit more versatile. You have that accuracy, but the distance gunfights are going to be a little bit more difficult for you, but you can move around the map a little bit easier as opposed to the first one. And number 3 is the run around the map, crackhead, Atlanta phase, you know, do whatever you want kind of class. It's not great at distance. If you have good recoil control, it could be, but that's about it. So if you're going to run around on a Hackney Yard with an M4 and slide through doorways, this is your best bet. So let's hop into some gameplay. Alright guys, so you are on Hack in the Yard, and I'm just going to give you like an accuracy display before I get into like running around and shooting bots and stuff like that. So this is the first class that I brought up, the one that's a little bit slower, but it has great recoil control, and it's really, really good at distance. So not moving anything, that's just the recoil pattern for this. This is pretty much across the map. So that's your best bet. Haven't moved anything. That's from top 3 to basically middle map, and that's your spray pattern right there. And then we're going to compare that to the other 2 classes. Alright, now comparing the second class, it still has good recoil control and accuracy, just a little bit less compared to the first class, but this one does have a little bit more movement. So this is the recoil control for that one. As you can see, it's not as good. At distance, you start to get a little shaky, not moving anything like I said, so that's just the natural recoil pattern of the gun. As compared to a tighter one, I don't think the first one even left the white crate, so as soon as I start shooting, this one just recoils straight on up. So at distance, like I said, it can be a little bit more difficult. And then we're going to compare the last one, which I don't even think I'm going to be able to hit the white crate, but let's see. Alright guys, so this is the third and final class. This one's all about movement speed, all about the pull-up time and sprint to fire speed. So at distance, it's not going to be great, I'm telling you right now. We're shaking. We're shaking at distance. That's about what it is. So there you go. That's what that does. But at close distances, and the sprint to fire speed is great for sliding around, door busts and things like that. So these are the 3 spray patterns. The middle one was the first class, great recoil control. It didn't even leave the white crate when I was shooting it. The second one, it's okay, not the best. The recoil at distance, like I said, is a little bit higher than compared to the first one. And the third one, I was shooting straight circles. So anything at medium to long range with the third class, you're basically going to get smoked. Close up though, if you're sliding through top L, you're just sliding through a doorway, and it's a great gunfight right there for this class. So take that, all of that knowledge as you will. Whatever player you are, decide what you like to do. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a slower AR player, so I'm going to go with class number 1 on most maps. I'm going to sacrifice the mobility and the pull-up time for the long-range accuracy and basically just map control. So, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you like this video, make sure to leave a comment, subscribe. If there's anything else you want to see, feel free to leave a comment like I said, and have a good rest of your day, bros.